Welcome to Lesson 4.4, Genetics, DNA, and Heredity, a critical part of TTEAS science preparation. In this lesson, you'll learn how genetic information is stored, passed on, and expressed, all essential for understanding biology at the molecular level. Let's dive into DNA, the molecule that holds all the instructions for life. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, and it's found in nearly every cell. Think of it as your body's instruction manual. Now, what does DNA look like? It's shaped like a double helix, a twisted ladder. Each step of the ladder is made of nucleotides, which have three parts: a sugar, a phosphate group, and a nitrogen base. There are 4 nitrogen bases you need to remember: A, adenine; T, thymine; C, cytosine; and G, guanine. Here's the rule that TTEAS loves to test. A always pairs with T, C always pairs with G. So if you see a DNA strand that says ATGC, the matching strand would be TACG. That's all there is to it. Just remember ATCG. Now let's talk about genes and chromosomes, both of which are important on the TTEAS. A gene is a specific segment of DNA that codes for a protein, and that protein leads to a specific trait, like eye color or blood type. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, or 46 in total. You get 1 set of chromosomes from your mother and 1 set from your father. Genes are located on chromosomes, and each gene has 2 copies. These are called alleles, with 1 copy coming from each parent. Here's a helpful tip. Chromosomes are made of tightly coiled DNA, and they become visible only during cell division, such as mitosis or meiosis. That's usually the only time we can actually see them under a microscope. Now, let's talk about alleles. These are different versions of the same gene, and for every gene, you get 1 allele from each parent. There are 2 main types. A dominant allele is represented by an uppercase letter and is expressed even if there's only 1 copy. A recessive allele is written as a lowercase letter, and it only shows up if both copies are recessive. Let's use eye color as an example. Capital B stands for brown eyes. Lowercase b stands for blue eyes. A person with 2 big B's, capital B, will have brown eyes. A person with 1 big B and 1 small b, capital B, lowercase b, will still have brown eyes, because the dominant allele masks the recessive one. A person with 2 small b's, lowercase b, will have blue eyes, since there's no dominant allele to override it. Here's your TTEAS tip. If there's even 1 capital letter, the dominant allele, it will always show in the trait. Next, let's break down 2 terms that are often tested and often confused on the TTEAS: genotype and phenotype. Genotype refers to the genetic code, the letters you inherit, like 2 uppercase B, 1 uppercase, and 1 lowercase b, or 2 lowercase b. These show what alleles you carry. Phenotype, on the other hand, is the physical trait you can actually see. For example, having brown eyes or blue eyes. Here's a quick trick to help you remember. Genotype equals genes. Phenotype equals physical appearance. So, if a question asks, "What is the person's phenotype?" don't just write the letters. Instead, describe the trait, like brown eyes or blue eyes. That simple shift in focus can earn you easy points on test day. Let's talk about Punnett squares, which predict the chances of traits being passed down. Imagine 2 parents, both have the genotype, capital B, lowercase b for eye color. Capital B is the dominant allele for brown eyes. Lowercase b is the recessive allele for blue eyes. Here's a sample Punnett square for a capital B, lowercase b parent crossed with another capital B, lowercase b parent. Let's break down the results. 1 capital B brown eyes, 2 capital B lowercase b brown eyes, 1 lowercase b blue eyes. That gives you phenotype ratio 3 brown eyes to 1 blue eye. Genotypic ratio. You may be asked to interpret a Punnett square or calculate a % chance of a trait appearing. Know how to set up and read these squares. Let's go over some key inheritance terms that often appear on the TTEAS. Homozygous means the person has two of the same alleles. Heterozygous means they have two different alleles. A carrier is someone with one recessive allele, but they don't show the trait. A trait is simply a characteristic passed from parent to child, like blood type or eye color. Here's your TTEAS tip. If the question says someone is a carrier, that means they are heterozygous. They don't have the trait, but they can still pass it on. Let's review the most testable takeaways for the TTEAS. To start, remember that DNA is made of nucleotides and follows strict base pairing rules, A pairs with T and C pairs with G. Next, a gene is simply a segment of DNA that codes for a specific trait. In humans, there are 23 pairs of chromosomes, and you inherit genes from both parents, one copy from each. Now, each gene has different versions called alleles. These can be dominant, capital B, or recessive, lowercase b. When we talk about genetics, genotype refers to the letter combination, like BB, BB, or BB, while phenotype is the physical trait you see, such as brown eyes. To predict how traits may be passed on, we use Punnett squares. These show the possible gene combinations and the likelihood of each outcome. For example, you might see a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 brown-eyed children to 1 blue-eyed child. Finally, remember that homozygous means the alleles are the same, while heterozygous means they are different. A carrier is someone who is heterozygous for a recessive trait. They don't show it, but they can still pass it on.